Okay. So I have been on a crusade against paper for a very long time. And I am, okay, thanks, Julie. I want to get rid of the amount of paper that I have in my house. We have 6 kids, all homeschooling, tons of paper. So I have been trying to maximize my Google Drive for homeschooling and keeping track of everything. So I just wanted to share some of the tips that I use Google Drive for. First off, what is Google Drive? It is essentially a hard drive in the cloud. And you have access to Google Drive when you have a Google account. And to get to your Google Drive, you would just type in drivegoogle.com. And this will bring you to your Google Drive. Or it should bring you to. Let's go here. I have it already open. drive.google.com. And in your Drive are all your Google documents that you've created, or maybe you don't have anything that you've created yet, but you will have everything that's here in your Drive. And you can organize things by putting them into folders. But Google Drive is really neat because when you have a Google account and you're using the web browser Google Chrome, which I highly recommend using when you're using your Google apps, you can log into your Google account from Chrome on any computer anywhere. You can log in at the library and have access to your Google Drive, all your Google Docs, your calendar, your email, any bookmarks that you have, that's all saved in your Google account when you log in through Google Chrome, which is the web browser. So that's one of a huge benefit of using Google Chrome is I don't need to carry around my laptop. I can just go on any computer and access it. And that also has downfalls too. You want to make sure you obviously log out of your Google account. Otherwise, people will be able to get in there and see your stuff. So, but I love Google Drive. I don't save anything on my hard drive. I use my Google Drive as my hard drive that I keep all of my things on. So within Google Drive, let me go back here. So you access it. If you're using Chrome, there's a little access to the apps, and you can get to it that way. You can get to it by just typing drive.google.com. All of those ways are ways that you can access it. You could just Google Google Drive and it'll pop in. Okay, so that is, let me get out of here. That is the way that you would access it. And where did that doc go? Okay. So the way that I have my Google Drive organized into folders, up at the top here, this is my homeschooling account, and I kind of don't have a lot of files in it. Let me just pop over to my work account so that you can see what my Google Drive looks like from that perspective. Here is my Google Drive for my work, and so you can see how many folders I have and how many things that are...
You can get out in and out the back.
Hello, welcome. So Google Drive is really, you have enormous amounts of folders, like my work account. So like I said in my other training, what I've done for my own homeschooling is I've created a Google account specifically for my homeschool, and I call it Andersonia Academy. So I created a Gmail address. That's Andersonia Academy Homeschool at gmail.com. And that is my homeschool account that I keep all of my homeschool information in. You can see I have a homeschooling folder here. So, and I have some other folders set up, but this is mainly for homeschooling. So how do you create folders? In Google Drive, you can just click on New, and you'll see there's lots of options of things to create. But you would just create a new folder, and it prompts you what you want to name it. The way that I have my Google Drive organized is by kid, but maybe you want to organize it, say, by year. So this is a 2023 year, so maybe I want to have that. I want to have it organized that way. All of these little, you see these little triangles, hopefully it's big enough, but these little triangles in Google, click on them and you can open them up. So you can open, click it down, and you can see those subfolders in different folders. So that's, so you can toggle them on and off, see the folders that you have. So if you wanted to organize it by, say, homeschool year, there's nothing in this folder yet. What you can do is create folders within folders. So maybe I want to create a kid folder within this year. And then maybe within this kids folder, I would want to do different subjects, say. Okay, and then maybe within this folder, I would put all of Jula's math stuff. And so do you see how it's kind of just like organizing on your hard drive, but it's a little bit different because it is all online and you have access to it wherever you are. So you can organize your Google Drive any way you want. That's one way. I'll show you how I organize mine. I have kids. I have kid folders. Here's Jula. And then I have to go in and clean this up because this is a lot of stuff that I haven't put into folders. But like I have last year's folder here. And then within that, I have, like this is her South Sutter portfolio here from last year. So I've shared that with myself and made a copy of it to keep for my records as a parent. The school has a copy, and you can do that. You can keep a copy for your records. Especially, I would recommend doing that for high school. Sometimes colleges might want to see that. Not necessary, but that's just me. I like to keep a copy of that. And then I have a copy of her iReady scores in here. That would be good to keep too for years. And your ES should be sending those to you when your kids complete their iReady test. So it's just kind of good information to have. So how you organize your Google Drive is completely up to you. The great thing about this, you don't even have to have anything in folders. You can just have tons of documents just not organized. So maybe you don't want to spend the time putting things into folders. But what's awesome is Google's search capabilities are built right into Google Drive. So if I knew that I wanted to search for something, again, here's that triangle. If you click on that, more information opens up. Say I wanted to search for a presentation that I made, and I knew it had the word Googlicious in it. I can't remember what I called it, but I remember that was in it. If I search for it, it will pop up. You can also search by something, by date that you created it. If you can't remember what you titled it, but you knew you created it sometime in March, you can search that way too. The date modified, you know, maybe it was, I don't know, sometime between August 1st and August 8th, you remember, and then you can search for that, and anything that you created at that time or modified at that time will pop up. So that's one way. You don't even really need to organize if you don't want to. But I like to organize, so I like to keep folders. At the beginning of the school year, I go and get set up for the new school year, the folders. So, when we were setting this up for Jula, and we have the English and the math, you can create items in here. When you're inside a folder, if you create a new document, just call this Jula's test. Okay, when you create a new document, that document now resides in that math folder. So wherever you are, whatever folder you're in, and you decide to create a new document, it's going to house itself in that folder. The cool thing about folders also is you can share entire folders. For example, if I wanted to share this with my personal account, you see again that little triangle? If I click down on that, I get a drop-down menu. There's lots of neat things in here. First off, you can change the color, which is really cool. So I can change the color of that folder if you're visual like that. I can make it a different color, and then if I click on that again, I can share this folder. So perhaps you want to share it with your husband or wife. Maybe you want to share it with grandparents if they're super techie. Maybe you want to share it with your own kid and their Google. So I'm going to share it with my personal account. I'm also going to allow myself to organize, add, and edit within this folder with this account. I can also share it just view only, so that the person that you're sharing with doesn't have access to change anything within that folder. But I want to give myself editing access, and then I can say, make a little note, this is Jula's folder. And I can notify the people I'm sharing it with, or I don't have to. I can take that off. When I send it to share with this person, with me, it will come, I'll show you what it looks like when I get a message. You'll get a message on your email, and it should come, let's see. It should come as like a message here. Let's see. Here it is, over here. And it'll come from the Google account that you are working in. And it'll say that this person has invited you to share and contribute to this folder. And then I can open it up on this account. So again, I'm in my personal account now. I see that this is the owner of that folder. But this is the folder that we created over here. You can see here is that document we created. So everything that I created in that account is here, available to me in this Google account. And since I have access to edit and share, I can open this up and type in it. And I can also see that this Google account is on this document too. When I go back here, when something's shared with me, these are things that are shared with me that I don't own. Okay, so when someone shares a document with me or a folder with me to a new drive, I want to make sure I add that to my Google account. So if I go back to that file that was shared with me, 2020, shared with me, here it is here. I want to add this into my Google Drive. I want to put this folder in here. It's not in there yet. This is my drive here. It's just shared with me. I can decide if I want to add this or not. I do want to add it. So when I right-click on it, there's a link that says Add to my drive. Right, so it's been shared with me, but I want to put it in my drive. And there it is. So now when I open my drive, I can see this folder here. If I don't want to put it on my drive, I can also just keep it off my drive, and it'll always be in this area called Shared with Me. And those are all documents that have been shared with me from other people. And I can choose to add them in or not. I can also find it in my recent, right? So these are the ones that I've recently added to. And here's that document that we were just on, this one. Okay, so that is, that's a tip on how to share. So you notice that this folder has a little person icon on it. That means it's shared. That's how I know it's shared. And you could share it with 100 people. You can share this with your, a great thing to do would be to share this with your ES. For example, I'm going to share it. I'm my own ES, so I'll share it with my work account. And then that same folder will be on my work account drive. So for parents, this is great. You can just upload a bunch of stuff into your folder, or have your kids create their, you know, if they're writing a paper, create it in the folder that's shared with your ES, and your ES has access to see all of that work. Now, maybe you don't want to give them access to edit. Maybe you just want to give them view access. So you can actually open up another window here. Like, for example, maybe I want to only give my work account view only access, not editing access. If you click on that advanced, you can, all the people that it's shared with will be listed here. So I can change this. I can make this folder public on the web if I wanted to, or I can make it public with anyone that has the link, or I could make it just shared with specific people. Right now, I'm just going to keep it so that it's just specific people can access. I've given my ES editing access, but maybe I just want her to have view only access. Maybe I want my personal email to be the owner of this file. Right now, my homeschool account is the owner. You can also change the owner. So you can change ownership of your folder to someone different. I'm going to keep it set up this way right now. And then you can save. Okay, so that is sharing. Like I said, you can share with a bunch of other people. You can move things within Google Drive, like maybe I want to move this math folder just right into the 2020 folder itself. And that's just alerting me that the sharing applies to across the folder, if that makes sense. So the math now is housed in this folder, not under Joomla. So it's really easy to click and drag folders around and documents. If I wanted to put this test document, instead of in the math, I wanted to put it in the English folder. It's now in the English folder and not in the math folder. Okay? And you'll notice that the file size of a Google Doc is nothing. So you can have 1 million Google Docs and it will take up no space in your Google Drive. In the bottom here, you can see you're given 15 gigabytes of storage for Google Drive, and I've been using 2.1. You can upgrade if you'd like. I think it's, and here it tells you how you're spending your storage. You can upgrade to 100 gigabytes for up $2 a month. There's even more. I think I have, yeah, this is the one I have for my personal account because it has all my photos. You can see with Google, you have Google Photos too. Just quickly, photos.google.com. I love Google Photos. So you can have I store all my photos in my personal. So that's an app for another day. You can go into Google Photos. But back to the drive. So again, so if you wanted to upgrade, you can also just create a new Google account and have 15 more gigabytes, like I have all of these accounts. So when I run out of storage, I start saving stuff in another Google account. Okay, so let me see what else I wanted to show you. We talked about folders. We talked about creating documents in folders. We talked about sharing, scanning docs. So that is really cool. I'm gonna stop my sharing for a minute, and I'm gonna go on video, and I want to show you. Hello. I want to show you how I use my phone to scan an app. So I have an app. I have a Google phone, and the app that I like is called Simple Scanner. Simple Scanner. And that's for Droid phones. There's probably a ton for Apple phones if you have an iPhone. You can also just really, you can use pictures too. I would suggest getting the Google Photo app, and then it just links directly to your Google Drive. So what I do is, say I have a paper here. I'm trying to find, let me just, all right, I have a receipt here. And this is something that I use for my own personal, not just homeschooling, but I save my receipts for my business, and I upload them into Google Drive, and then I can throw away those receipts. But I keep track of my receipts in that way. So what I'm going to do on this app, there's a camera scanning app, and I use a scanning app because sometimes the documents I want to upload have more than one page. A photo is great if it's just one page, but if you have more than one page, or if you want to create it as a PDF document, a scanning app is better. So what I just do is I take a picture of this receipt, and I'm going to show you how I upload it onto my drive. And then I just spend a minute formatting it. It's pretty easy. And then on my app, I have the option to share. And it asks me if I want to share a PDF or as a picture. I want to share it as a PDF, and I want to save it to my drive. There's an option on there that says save to my drive. So I save it to my drive, and I'm going to save it to, it asks me what Google account because I have a gazillion. And I'm going to save it to my Andersonia homeschool account. And I'm going to save it into, I'll just put it in Jula's math. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen again. And I'm going to show you the magic of Google. Okay, so there's nothing in here right now. So now I'm going to share it. And it takes a minute, but boom. It's uploaded into that specific folder that I chose. And when I open it up, it's my receipt. There it is, as a PDF doc. So there's lots of different apps you can use for this. Let me stop sharing my video. There's lots of different apps that you can use, but most will connect to Google Drive. Again, the one that I use is called Simple Scanner. When it's up here, you can see that it takes up some space here. When it's up here, you can also rename your document. So it just generated this name. So I'm going to rename it. I'm going to just call it FedEx receipt. And there you go. So now this is in my math folder. And because this math folder, this whole entire folder is shared with my personal account, I can go in my personal account. Let's go back there. Whoops, not that one. This one. And I can go into that folder again. Under the math, and here is that same receipt. So you can see this has a lot of really cool applications, like to share documents and things with your ES, with your husband or wife. So that is how you can scan things. You can also just take a picture. For example, I'm going to take a picture outside my window. And I'm going to share that picture with and upload it into my Google Drive here. And let's see if this works. So I'm going to share it. I can share it the same way. I can save it into my drive. And if we go into that math folder, in a minute, it should be in there. So Google Photos is great. Is a great app to use. So here is that picture, looking out my window. So that is kind of, and like throughout the day, I take 100 pictures of things, of my kids, of their work, and I do it right then. I've just gotten into the habit of taking a picture, sharing it with the right folder, and then I can throw that piece of paper away. So I don't have to have that extra stuff, clutter, right? One thing that's important to note, that Google Drive, you need to be online to access your Google Drive, right? Because it's in the cloud, it's not on your hard drive. You can back it up to your hard drive, and there's ways. If you Google Google Drive on hard drive, you can back up your drive, there's tons of ways that you can do it. So if you're nervous about having it in the cloud and you want it on your physical computer, you can do that. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm nervous about having files on my personal computer because if my computer crashes, I lose access to all those files. Whereas Google Drive, it's going to be pretty rare. I mean, it would be a catastrophic event for you to not have access to your Google Drive. So I personally prefer to have everything in the cloud because I know it's quote unquote safe or safer than having it on my hard drive. So I have been slowly just uploading all of my important papers on Google. Privacy might be a thing, an issue for you if you don't want to have your information stored in Google. That's something to consider. I really don't care that much. I'm one of a billion people that has Google accounts. So, I mean, but if privacy is a concern and you're worried about that, we're worried about having sensitive information in Google, that's something that you would want to think about and discern on your own. I just pretty much save everything in Google. That's just me. So, but offline, you can work on documents offline. So right now, this is set up that I have to be online to be working on this document. Right, I'm on the internet. I would not have access to this document if I was offline, but you can make it accessible when you're offline. And the way that you do that, and with any doc in Google Drive, is within that doc, you can select Make Available Offline. It now says that it's available offline. And so I could turn my Wi-Fi off. I don't want to do that because I would lose you guys, but I can turn it off and I could still have access to that doc. So for example, if you have a student that's working on a paper and you're driving down to Southern California, she could be working on that paper offline, just like she was working in like a Microsoft Office doc. So that's another tip for if you're concerned about having everything online and you don't have, maybe you have spotty internet where you live. You can make documents available offline. There's a lot of fun things to explore in settings. Whenever Google has the little gear shift, click on that and you can kind of explore what they have in here. You can, change your viewing of how the docs are listed in your drive. Notifications, you can get updates. Maybe you want to get an update. I have an email, but maybe you want to get an update if anything changes in your drive. You can have that. Then there are lots of different Google apps that you can use, and maybe you can select different ones that you want to use there. There's also a lot of things called, let's see, trying to find where they would be. You go to, not there, but there are lots of, if I go to the Chrome store. Chrome store is, whoops. The Chrome store is like the App Store on an iPhone. Chrome again is my web browser. And they have a lot of different apps that you can attach onto your web browser that can help you with your, you know, productivity or different things you want to use. Like maybe you're concerned with like grammar. So there's a lot of grammar check tools that you can attach to Chrome. And you could just add it onto your Chrome. And do you see up here how this little icon appeared? So now whenever maybe I want to, I don't know exactly how this app works, but okay, I have to log in. But typically an app will attach itself onto your Google account and will help with certain things. Like for example, this is your grammar check app. Okay, so I'm thinking if I'm typing here, it would prompt me for, oh, well, this is not even, Google Docs isn't even supported. So that was kind of a dumb one to upload. But anyway, this works, I think it said it works in Gmail. So it checks your Gmail grammar. So that's kind of some basic things in Drive. Another great way to organize things if you're using Drive is you can star documents. For example, if this document here is really important, I use it a lot, I want to always refer back to it, what you can do is, let's see, here it is here. If I right click on it, I can add this to my starred documents. Now you see this little star has appeared. So now if I'm wondering where that doc was and I can't find it, I know I starred it. So if I click on my starred documents, they're listed, they would be listed right here. So I use that for things that I refer to a lot and I don't want to take the time to search for it here. So starring a document is a good organizational tool. Now for, say I want to delete, say I want to delete this, I don't need this anymore. I've shared it with a bunch of people though. What happens to a document that you've shared when you delete it? Of course, when I share it with someone, they could always make a copy of it and keep it on their own Google Drive. And you would just go File, Make a Copy. And then that just makes a copy and it separates it from the doc that you're collaborating on. So you can do it that way. But you can, if the owner of the doc, which is this Google account, has to delete it, is the only one that can delete it, put it in the trash. And now it's gone. It says it's still accessible by collaborators. Let's see, and you can look in your trash for documents. So if I go back, let's see what happens when I go back and click on that doc. It's not there. So, but it's not in this folder, but here it is still here. So it gives me this notice that it's in the owner's trash. And it prompts me, maybe I can make a copy or I could just ignore it. If I close this window, it'll be gone forever for me. But if I want to make a copy, I can do that. And then I have access to that. Okay, so that is how you would delete a document within a folder. Where am I? Back here. Okay. This is my trash folder. Does anyone want me to show them specifically anything in Drive that I didn't talk about? Oh, another cool thing while you're thinking of questions is maybe you don't like to look at things in a list. You can change the view so that it looks like this. I guess you would call these like icon view. It has your folders up here, and then your files. It kind of gives you a preview of what it looks like. So that kind of helps you too in finding something you're looking for. I usually keep mine in list view because I like to find things. I don't know, it's just easier for me to find things. I can also view the details of a file. And that's probably not a good one. Let's look at this one. Oh, wrong view. So if I want to know the details of this file, maybe when it was created, I can click on these little 3 dots and I can view the details. And it tells me when it was created, the activity on it, maybe people edited it. It tells me when I was created. I could add a description here that Googlicious or something. I don't know, it's not really necessary, but so yeah, that's kind of like the details of your document, and you can look at documents that way. In here, yeah, I can also download this to my computer if I wanted to have it. I can download entire folders. And the cool thing is it converts it to a Word document when I download it. Any questions? I thought this would only be a half hour, but I can always talk for hours and hours about this. Any questions, or you want me to show you anything? You can type in the chat box too if you don't have access to your mic. Again, this is like a great way to keep track of your homeschool paperwork. If you've been to my other Googlicious training, we talked about all the different types of files that you can create. You can create Google Sheets for like grade sheets within that folder. Google Sheets is great for data collection. So you can see where, I don't know where I just created that. I think I created it in my Drive. Anyway, it's right here. Oh, I have to title it. Okay, if there's no questions, I am recording this, so I will be posting it into our Facebook page for access, and so you can watch it again. If I was going too fast, I tend to talk really fast. But so you can watch it again and get some more tips. But if you have any questions, I'll put my, let's see, will the recording be posted? Yeah. Yep, and I'll put my email address in the chat box if you want to grab it. And if you have any questions, you can email me, and I will respond. All right, thank you for joining me, and good luck going paperless with all your homeschool stuff. Thanks, everybody.